I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledged knowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was taught with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena Horne. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, outcasted like hey ya.
Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's your number one Chief Rock Connection Universal, main man, Uncle Freezy. Welcome to a Knicks at Night podcast. I am joined by the creator of NBA Economy Show, Fritz Alcindor Jr. What's up, boss?
Hey, what's going on, Freezy?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. I'm You know what? Let me say something first. Let me outline something first.
Sure.
And then I'll ask a question after that, and then maybe you'll be better able to understand why I'm asking the question. Is that okay?
Sure.
I'm nervous, bro. Right? I am nervous because I feel like the Knicks are in a new territory. I'm also nervous because I know we're 3 or 4 years removed from the lottery. I'm also nervous that the Boston Celtics look future forward. They look like a dynasty in the making. And I'm also nervous that the Knicks may be in a financial place where the moves that they want to make to catch the Celtics, stay out of the lottery, be a championship contender, they may be inhibited by the moves that they make because of where they are with salary. Now, with that said, I've been asked since the season ended about multiple moves, right? Move 1, can the Knicks trade for Mikal Bridges? Move 2, who is the superstar that the Knicks have been chasing for all these years, and how come going into the 5th offseason, the Knicks front office still don't have that guy? So I want to ask you directly, right? Because you understand the economics of the salary cap and how front offices think. And so with that said, I want to ask you, is there a world where the Knicks can stabilize a passionate Knicks fan's thoughts, like do something reassuring, and at the same time go get the guy?
I don't think there's a world where everybody's happy, where where it's a prevailing thought that they won, they won the off season. You know what I mean? Because some people they want it all. They want the picks, they want the star, they want the financial flexibility, they want it all. And I don't think there's a way you can have it all at the same time.
So where does that put us?
It puts us in a spot where you have to make a decision.
Okay.
You ever been like in Um, we've been talking about how flexible we've had it, but once we've been saving up all this capital, but once you spend it, it's spent.
Once you spend it, it's spent.
So I think people's like, oh no, just get this guy. But once it's spent, it's spent. Like you can't go back. So next summer, somebody pops up, your back's against the wall. Like you're done. So I think they're kind of at the point where they've been saying, hey, this the Knicks themselves haven't been saying it, but ESPN, those guys is like, oh, this is the summer. And we're in the same spot where like you don't see the names, nobody's screaming to leave.
Right.
They have the capital, but a lot of fans are like, do something with that capital.
Right. I'm nervous, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. And hey, thank you for everybody tuning in. Also, just want to salute everybody in the chat, and just want to clarify that we're all not in the same place in terms of fandom, right? Because for a 30-something-year-old to say the Knicks haven't won a championship in 50 years, they probably only recognize about 20 years of that. But for a 50-something-year-old that knows that the Knicks have not won a championship in 50 years, you've been around for maybe 85 to 90% of that championship drought. And so from my perspective, as someone who was a baby, a toddler when the Knicks won their second championship, to live all the way into my mid-50s without the Knicks winning a championship is a struggle for me to wrap my head around. And it seems like, and the reason why I'm in this comfortable place is because to me, this feeling has a deja vu sense to it that may not end up well if we don't make the bold and relevant move, whether it's via trade or free agency. And so that's why I'm asking you all these questions that may not seem like they connect, but they connect in that sense. Give an example. I watched the Pistons content creator, right? And they're complaining about their championship drought, right? But they won a championship in 2008, right? So it's been 16 years for them, right? I watched the Chicago Bulls content creator talk about their championship drought. Well, they got their championships in bunches, right? I watched the San Antonio Spurs content creator complain about how the young guys aren't developing, and this is a championship organization, right? I listened to Big Tone, Open Sports Talk. That's my guy in Miami. They talk about championship aspirations, but they don't have a championship drop. And then there are the Knicks, right? Where and I'm not complaining about anything because I trust the management. I trust Leon Rose and his management team is going to do the right thing. But at times, man, my frustration kind of overwhelms because you watch other teams make a move and you're like, they're always building towards a championship, right? Like you saw the Dallas Mavericks come from outside the pack and win their way to a conference championship with Luka, Kyrie, and a bunch of dudes. And as a Knicks fan, it seems like we have more talent than teams like Dallas. Seems like it. I'm not saying that's accurate, right? I'm just saying it seems as if we have more talent than about 95% of the teams in the league, and we can't get over the hump. So with all of that said, with all that mouthful of, I felt like I just laid on the couch and you were my psychiatrist or psychologist. So
I'm billing by the hour. That's
as long as it's by the hour, right? Yeah, yeah. With all that said, um, is there a way that the Knicks can figure out a means to become a championship contender? I mean, we'd be a championship level team right now. And is the championship window open right now?
I think they probably could. I don't think fans would like it. Like, I don't think the fans would if they just said, "Hey, this year coming up, we're going for it."
Right.
I don't think a lot of people would be happy because if they brought they brought in some older guys. Fans would be like, "Oh, I don't like anybody who's over the age of 25." You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean? The way the fandom works, they want everybody to be young. They want to look 10 years down the line. They want to. I just don't think when you're a team's like, this is the year, you make some moves that other people don't. Like Celtics this year, we got Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
And that's something the Knicks weren't going to do. It's like, oh, he's injured. But he was a bargain for what they were giving up. And they had to bet on him being healthy. That was like a win now move because they had Jaylen Brown, who they just gave a bunch of money. Right. And they weren't sure if is it a 1 year, one and done.
Right.
So they went in.
Right.
I don't think could the Knicks do that and the fans be okay with it?
Right. Right. I understand the fan base's perspective. Mm-hmm. I do. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a Knicks content creator, and I do shows for the fans. And so the fan base, what I get from the fan base is a multitude of differing opinions. Often, there is the run it back, win now group that feel like if the Knicks are healthy, they don't need anything else, right? And then there is the group that feel like Tom Thibodeau may have been challenged by other coaches in the playoffs. I don't want to say outcoached. That might be a word that they use. I'm going to say challenged just for PC because a lot of those coaches had healthy players and Tibbs was coaching basically shorthanded. Mm-hmm. With so many injuries, I don't think he got outcoached. I think he was shorthanded and did the best he can do with a limited roster.
Yeah.
And then there are the fans that feel like the only way you can win a chip is with homegrown talent. Teams that cobble together free agents never win championships. Look at teams that build super teams around maybe one guy and bring in 1,000 free agents. And can they win championships with that?
Yeah.
And let me ask, can you mind me asking where you set?
Well, I think the championship window right now is short. So I don't think you're gonna build it little piece by piece, adding little pieces. I just don't think that I don't think it works like that.
Okay.
Like okay, so keep adding along the margins. So keep winning little trades, and then you're gonna win the big one.
Okay.
I don't think that's it. Oh, we'll add a piece this summer, and then we'll add a piece next summer, and then well, you have to have that piece that matters because as you're upping it, other teams are adjusting.
Right.
Other teams are adjusting as you go in.
Okay. So basically, a rising tide is going to raise all boats as opposed to one person riding the wave. Basically, everybody's trying to improve in the offseason.
Yeah, everybody's trying to improve in the off season.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there a world where the Knicks can re-sign OG Anunoby and trade for Paul George?
Yes.
So what would that world look like?
Well, okay, you have to see if first thing you need to figure out is if OG Anunoby is going to opt in.
Okay.
Just the current rumors is he's going to opt out. So
Right.
he's scheduled for 19.9 next year. If he opts out, he's saying, "Hey, I'm not taking 19.9. We're going to start my new paycheck right now."
Right now. Right.
Or if him and Leon are working, usually Leon would be like, "Hey, take 19.9 next year, and then we'll give it to you on the back end."
Right.
That's how I thought. Like if they were working together, that's how I think it would work.
Right.
And then your math would start from there. So from there, you could say, "Hey, um, I would renounce the players I don't mean to keep next year." And then we're gonna try to get under that first tax tier. So we're gonna try to get under that first tax tier,
Right.
and then we're gonna line up our trades to make sure that everything works out.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So how do the Knicks get Paul George then in that scenario?
Okay, so right now, then with Paul George, he has a decision to make. Is he going to opt in next year for
Right.
48.8?
Right.
So, but the problem is if he opts in for 48.8, it's kind of out of his hands. He can ask Clippers to trade him, but
Right.
he can't force the Clippers to trade him. So then they're just not sure. If he opts out, he could say, "Hey, my new paycheck is going to start now." It's probably going to start lower, but
Right.
that's the point where he can kind of push LA Clippers around. It's like, "Hey, send me here,"
Yeah.
because they don't have a choice. It's like you're either going to let him walk because he has choices now.
Right.
He could say, "Oh, I'll just walk to 76ers," or you can get something back by sending me where I want to go.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. How do the Knicks look financially if give an example? I'm going to give an example. An example for us, for the Knicks, right?
Mhm.
OG opts in for 19.9.
Mhm.
The Knicks sign him for 5 years, 220. And I know that number sounds ridiculous, right?
It's high.
But but the thing about it is, what would be the motivation for OG Anunoby to opt into 19.9, right? It would be him being extended for 5 years, 220, right? As opposed to
It
him.
would be, yeah. It would be. It's him working with the organization.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
I'm here for the long haul. I'm working with you.
right,
Pretty much your negotiation's over. We're just shifting the money around. We're just just how
right,
Josh Hart did. You're just
right.
shifting money around. But it's pretty much you have a deal done, but we're just shifting the money around
In theory, it's still going to be,
early.
yeah,
Yeah,
but in
yeah. In
theory,
theory,
it's still,
same amount of money that he would have done before, but it's pretty much you already have a deal. You and the organizations are already on the same page. If you're
right.
not on the same page, you're not doing that.
No, you're not doing that. But in theory, it's still going to be 6 years, 240 million. He's still going to get 40 million a piece.
Yes, so
40
40
40
million.
million a year.
Yeah, it's just shifted around. Yeah.
Yeah. So that money, and instead of him getting maybe 4 years, 160 from the Knicks with a 3+1, he gets the full 5 years fully guaranteed plus this year's salary. So you're talking about his extension kicking in after this season is over for 5 years, 220. And so the AAV over the entire 6 years is $40 million.
Yeah.
And 3 years, 40 million will look like how 30 million looks to us right now.
Yeah.
Right. That's my thinking. Right. I'm not for sure if that is a savvy or shrewd business move for either party. And that's the reason why I'm asking.
Okay. I think the for him opting in can be a good thing. Like the Knicks can buy themselves. They can buy themselves opportunity to get someone else. Like
This year, right?
well, this year they can get someone this year and may even not go into the second apron. Or if they're even really good at it, they may not go over the first apron.
Okay.
And then they can like kind of have a year where they're not getting penalized. Then next year it's second apron. Oh no, we're good. Like
Right.
you know what I mean? They're not starting the clock yet. Like starting.
Right.
So you're trying to get some runway. So we got a year of runway, and then a year we get penalized.
So kick the can down the road in their
Kick the
fifth
can a
offseason.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, in their fifth offseason, they're going to kick the can down the road and then try it again in their sixth offseason.
Yeah, because you know these with the new CBA, the money's going to start coming in after next year. So you can you might have if they do it well, they might have a year, maybe second apron, but
Okay.
they may be able to time it so that they don't get penalized this year. They get in second apron, and then they're back to regular, back to they're not in first or second tier.
Okay.
You know what I
What
mean?
would
I mean, that's the ideal. I mean, for me, that would be like an ideal situation. Like they're just making sure that they don't get penalized long term.
But if you're reserving your purchasing power,
Mhm.
right, what will be the goal in the years to come?
In the years to come, it's to have tradable contracts.
Okay.
So nothing ridiculous, nothing. If this is not a player you is not a keeper, you don't want people on really high salaries, and did you want different size contracts. You don't want all minimum deals. You don't want all
all
kinda like
expiring, dead, expiring
Suns. Like
deals,
that's what the
36-year-old. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason why I'm asking is because if they kick the can down the road, when they restart, Jalen Brunson will be 29 and Julius Randle will be 31.
Mhm.
Josh Hart to be 31. Like
Mhm.
at what point do you dig your heels in and say, we're gonna go out and get this guy that we've been rumored to be chasing, so to speak?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there is a guy. Like when they say is a guy, I don't think there's a specific guy in mind. I think it's probably a group of players.
So I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound very weird,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a source,
Mm-hmm.
and my source has told me, and I know the chat. I can hear people in there looking at the thing like, Uncle Freezy has a source. Yes, and I don't trust the whole source thing, right? I don't trust that, right? But what I'm told is that the Knicks and PG-13 and the Knicks and Karl Anthony Towns are done anytime they feel like it. Like whenever they're ready, whenever the Knicks are ready to pull the deal off, then and mind you, these are two separate people, right? One
Mm-hmm.
person came on this show and spilled the beans about Karl Anthony Towns. And for the sake of privacy, I'm not going to mention his name, but this was about a year and a half ago, well, 2 years ago. He mentioned that Cat is a Knick anytime the Knicks feel like it. And for the past year and a half or so, Somebody's been DMing me. The Paul George thing is done whenever the Knicks want to. That the Knicks are enamored with. Kenny Payne says, "I'm not your source." No, as a matter of fact, I don't let sources out of the bag either. Right? For one, I don't know. I'm not a journalist, so I don't know how to approach dealing with information like that.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, a lot of us have been to college. We've taken English courses. We know that we have to check a source and separate it from a resource, and then get secondary sourcing in order for information to be accurate. If you've ever been to any English level college course, you know about sources and resources and all of that stuff, right? No big deal. What I'm saying is I'm not a professional at it. I'm just an everyday guy. But I heard that somebody reached out to me because of my love affair or my affinity with Paul George, and told me that the Knicks could have Paul George anytime they feel like it. My question is, why would the Knicks wait for Paul George to turn 35 and then trade for him?
I don't know, and it's not a bargain. Like he's not one of those players that says, "Hey, I'm in the twilight of my career. Let me chase."
Right.
He's trying to get every dollar he can. He's going to be a tough one because for the last year he's been trying to get this new contract.
Yeah.
And he's been adamant, like 4 years. The Knicks talked to him last year,
Yeah.
and he was like, that extra year, the Knicks like, nah.
Yep.
And then now he's at the Clippers. The Clippers is like, nah.
Right. Right.
And he's not a bargain. He's not a bargain.
And right on all fronts. If you trade for him, you're going to pay a pretty penny and organizational assets in order to get him here, and then you're going to have to pay him out of your bank account a pretty penny while he's here. His salary is going to be insane compared to other guys that we normally have on a roster. Now, does he deserve those paychecks? Absolutely, he deserves his salary. Right? Is he worth the assets that the organization has to offer in a trade? Yes, he's absolutely. He's a Hall of Famer. He's probably a first or second ballot Hall of Famer based on his production. The only thing missing from his resume and the Knicks' resume is the one thing we're looking to acquire Paul George to help both sides quell, and that's the NBA championship.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind though, if they do the OG Anunoby opt-in and then pay him a significant amount over for the 6 years, 240, would they chase Paul George this season, or would they?
I think it was kind of out. I think OG, for me, the numbers they're talking OG Anunoby is kind of high. Like I thought he was going to come as a discount. I thought he was coming as a discount.
Okay.
It kind of made me kind of step back and be like, okay, I might have to think this whole team thing over.
Right.
Because you're talking about 40 plus a year for OG.
Right.
That may even change if I can keep Randall. If Randall wants a bump and pay.
Right.
And I'm not sure if this was in the plans because we don't really talk, but if it was in their plans, they have something else cooked up because I don't see a Jalen extension, a Randall extension, and that high of a price for OG.
You don't see Brunson in the 40s?
No, I can see. I don't see all of them together because then you're almost like kicking an extra star out. Like you're almost abandoning that idea at that point.
Right. So you don't envision a world where James Dolan would cut the check regardless if the Knicks win a championship.
No, he can cut the check. It's just it's hard to make that star trade at that point. Like, who are
Even
you
with OG
trading?
Anunoby making $19 million this year.
It depends who the star is, because you have to match. You have to match salaries. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's.
there are a lot of the thing is
I mean, because you're and the way I'm thinking about it, I'm not just thinking pure numbers. I'm thinking the Villanova three are off limits.
yep.
Villanova three is off limits. So basically, your only valuable pieces, Deuce. Um, who do we have?
How valuable
Deuce.
is Deuce to you? How valuable is Deuce to you?
I've been putting him in when I put things out. I've been putting Deuce in trades because there's just not too many valuable pieces to go around on the Knicks.
So he has, in your mind,
Yeah,
he has NBA value, but not organizational value.
I think when they gave him that contract, it was to trade him. He didn't pop yet. I
Right.
think they gave him that contract is, hey, we're gonna give you, we believe in you. You worked hard. We're probably gonna trade you, but you're gonna be paid no matter where you go.
Right. So he's set for life right now,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, and then he popped, and then everybody's like, "Oh, we can't get rid of him." It's like, okay, but who else are you gonna trade?
Right. Right. Um, I may disagree with you, and not for the sake of being adversarial.
Oh no, I'm not saying
But
that he's not worth a lot.
no,
I'm
no,
just
I'm not talking about Deuce though. I'm not talking about disagreeing about Deuce because I agree with you about Deuce.
okay.
But I may take a separate and opposing stance on um what an owner will pay in salary if they feel like they're a championship contender,
Mhm.
right? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of teams, when I look at the Celtics extended Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis this year.
Mhm.
And both of them are going to be core pieces for the Celtics for the foreseeable future based on their team construct, right? The next guy is Derek White. I don't see a world where they'll let Derek White out the door when he finally solved part of their championship equation.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna extend Derek White. They're gonna extend Tatum, and not even worry about Brown, who's extended, Drew, who's extended, and Porzingis, who's extended. I think
Yeah.
that the key pieces are Tatum, Al Horford, and Derek White. And
Yeah.
Al Horford is the least of their worries, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, they found their mix. So for the Celtics, it is money. They are going to be penalized, but they
Yeah.
found their mix. They can go forward. The Knicks haven't found their mix. So these penalties are beyond just, they do have you have the penalties for first tier, second tier, but then there are other penalties for going year after year. Where
Yeah.
like, yeah. So there's like there's I don't even have them written down, but you have penalties for being first tier 2 out of 3 years. You got penalties for being second tier 2 out of 3 years.
Yeah, the repeater taxes.
Repeater taxes. I don't think, yeah, Dolan. I don't think the cash. Dolan doesn't really care about the cash.
Right. Right.
He
Right.
had,
Because the money they make alone in New York, if the Knicks are the champs,
yeah,
well, the money Dolan makes, in my opinion, if the Knicks win the championship, the Knicks will skyrocket up the value rankings of every franchise, not just NBA, but every professional franchise. The Knicks will it'll be akin to the Dallas Cowboys winning the Super Bowl.
yeah,
Right, right, or Manchester winning the championship. They'll skyrocket up, but it's not like if the Chicago Bulls win the championship, they go from 20 all the way up to 1, and then when their star leaves, they go back down to 20. I don't think it's that.
No.
The Knicks are probably the second most valuable franchise, and if they win a championship, they'll be the most valuable franchise for the next 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the Knicks aren't just competing with themselves, or we're competing with like all New York entertainment, and
Right.
that's what Dolan is. He's concerned with. Like, that's why he always wants a star. Like,
Right.
yeah.
So let me ask it, because I saw the exercise you did earlier,
Mhm.
and there were so many moving pieces to it that I didn't
Mhm.
want to kind of take anything away. What I did want to do though is ask you, if you were to have a perfect offseason for the Knicks
Mhm.
and 3 moves, what would be those 3 individual, nothing clumped together, like not like, man, draft 4 guys in the draft and sign 4 free agents. Just if there were 3 separate transactions for the Knicks to win a championship, what would those
Mhm.
3 transactions be?
Just if they're simple, yeah, I would definitely take I would take the Hawks point guard. I'm sorry, shooting guard.
DeJounte Murray.
DeJounte Murray, I would definitely take.
Okay.
Um, if I can move up in the draft, and if I can move up in the draft top 10, I'd probably go there.
And then who would you take with that pick?
Um, let me see who I'd take. I would take someone. So I would need someone who could be a 6-man.
Okay.
Um, today I put like Alex Sarr, but that's like it would be pretty complicated to get up that high. And I would only do that if we lost Hartenstein. Yeah, so I'd probably take Hartenstein out,
Okay.
and then I'd probably add in. Let's see, the center from Indiana.
Miles Turner.
The college team.
Oh, Khalil Ware.
Kalel Ware. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kalel
And,
Ware,
and then what would be your last
Jonte Murray.
transaction?
The last transaction, get a wing.
Resign OG Anunoby. Resign Hartenstein.
Oh yeah, OG.
Okay, so that'd be
OG. I probably wouldn't bring Hartenstein back.
Okay.
I think it's maybe a little bit too much.
Okay. So one quick thing, man. I wanted to ask you about. Have you heard about the Knicks and the Wizards having trade conversations?
Yes.
I saw what you put on Twitter early. X. I'm sorry. That's like a weird name for a social media platform, right?
Yeah.
X. That's weird, right? But so I saw what you put on X earlier about maybe the Knicks trying to trade up to 2.
I mean, for a lot of
was that you, or am I attributing?
no, that was me. That was me.
Okay.
Because everybody was like, "Oh, they're going for Kuzma," and they're like, "Yeah, Kuzma's going to come off the. Kuzma's not going to come off the bench.
Kuzma's not coming off the bench, bro.
So
Kuzma's not coming off the bench.
No. Kuzma would ask for a trade as soon as you got him there.
Yeah, and neither is Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's not coming off of anybody's bench when he finally got the chance to start. Right? Yeah. He had a terrible season as a starter. So what? People have bad seasons. That man he was thrust into a position of being the franchise player on a tanking team looking to replace Bradley Beal,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't go well. So what? Things happen,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So yeah, so my thought was, what would it take to get up to number 2 pick? And this is like a down year. This is not. It's not the same as last year when you had Wembanyama, when nobody would trade it. People are willing to get out of the top 10 this year.
Right.
So I think what I put up there was the Knicks giving up. So it would have to happen this way. The Wizards actually draft Alex Sarr.
Okay.
So they draft him, and then they would trade him to the Knicks for Mitchell Robinson, 24, the 24th pick, the 25th pick, and then we have Washington's pick next year.
Yeah.
And then trading that for number 2.
Yeah, that's way too much for Alex Sarr, bro. I'm not.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
I'm not. If you had said, legit, no lie, if you had said either 24 and 25 for 2, or 25 and their pick back, or say 38 and Mitch for 2, I'd have been okay with it, right? But yeah, I think that's really expensive.
Because I was trying to figure out what was the proper price. Because even some people had it Mitch 24 and something else for 2. But I don't think that would have been enough. Like Mitch and 24.
I think that's too much, bro.
So I'm like, okay.
And you mind if I just want to clarify why I think it's too much? Not because I want to be a hater. I'm not just being a hater for the sake of hate. I just think that a team with the Knicks aspirations, right? With the Knicks aspirations, probably wouldn't offload draft picks because of the conversation we were having just about 20 minutes ago with what you need for OG Anunoby and maybe the star trade. I think you have to reserve some of those assets in case that star becomes available.
Yeah.
And if you gave that away for Alexander Sarr, then you wouldn't be able to get Devin Booker if Devin Booker said, I always want to be a Knick, and you're sitting here with Alexander Sarr.
Yeah. Like in this case, Alex Sarr would be your star. Like you would have to really love this player. Like,
right.
You would have to love this player. This isn't, hey, that's something nice to get. No, this is your new centerpiece.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
In my mind, I think the trade is a little bit more complicated. I think it's Denny Avdija and 2 for Mitchell Robinson, 24 and 25. And I know that sounds like
Denny and 2.
Denny and 2. Yeah.
Wow.
And mind you,
I mean, if they ever did that, I would be so happy. But
the reason why I say Denny and 2 is because Denny Avdija has a contract extension already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So his money, he'll make more money than Mitch. Right. So they'll save money by getting Mitchell. They'll save about $2 million for getting Mitch. And then the 2 pick compared to the 24 and 25 pick, they'll save about $3 million, right? Because the number 2 pick will make somewhere in the neighborhood of the high 8s, maybe 9. And 24 and 25 will probably make about $2.5 million a piece. So you're probably looking at about a total of $6 million in saving for them. Yeah. And they continue their rebuild because they'll be picking 24, 25, and 38. And then they also pick 28 also?
Yeah, they have a.
I think I'm gonna see because I think they can.
Yeah, they definitely have a first.
Yeah, I think they have 2 firsts. I think they have 2 firsts.
Yep. So if they're number 2,
I'm gonna check out
oh,
Stankathon. See
26. 26.
26. So they'll pick 24, 25, and 26. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know any other scenario where it would even be worth it for Washington. I think they have a need at center. I understand they have Marvin Bagley.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. They have Marvin Bagley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or would the Knicks trade for Marvin Bagley?
I
I
mean,
saw
if
you. I
they,
saw you were about to laugh just now. You're about to like, why would the Knicks trade for Marvin Bagley? Why would they trade away 13 million for a dude that's going to make 16 million and is a worse player?
okay, because I played with the numbers today like a lot. Like
Okay.
I could see situations where if they had a couple trades going, where they might stick Marvin Bagley on the bench just for him to expire next year,
Okay.
or something like that, or you know, or come the winter if they can retrade him again,
Right.
something like that. But I don't think they would intentionally that be the target.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
confused to the target. Like, why would they even be talking to Washington? Like, what does
Mhm.
Washington really have?
No, nothing.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. They really have nothing that we need
Right.
except that number 2. Even Denny is not a great shooter. He's a good
No.
defender.
A good conduit, good ball mover,
Hmm.
smart, high IQ basketball player, passionate, wants to win. But I don't know if you would. Is that worth trading for in the off season?
Yeah, I think number 2 makes sense.
Okay.
That number two pick makes a lot of sense,
Okay.
and it makes a lot of sense probably if they're looking to maybe even flip that, not even just SAR. I think SAR would fit, but it could be one of those things where they're flipping it in something else.
Oh, that's interesting. What would
Yeah,
that be? What would that something else be?
I mean, like yeah, like if you want to trade the Suns, if you want to trade, if you want to trade with the Suns or anything like that,
Right.
and wanted to get in the big name, it could be attracted to them.
I have something interesting to share with you.
Hmm.
So last year in the first half of games,
Hmm.
Denny Avdija shot 40% from three in the first quarter, and he shot 43.5% from three in the second quarter. In the third quarter, he shot 33%, and in the fourth quarter, he shot 28%.
Well,
Does
was he starting? He's
I don't know. I don't think he starts. I think he may. But Washington is a rebuilding team, so you can't go by what
yeah.
they're doing. Yeah, you know, sometimes he'll start, sometimes he won't. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But are you asking about the sample sizes? Is that the reason why you asked?
No, I'm just saying, like, you know how some players maybe they play too many minutes, and you know how they like tail off at the end, but I don't think
Right.
his is too many minutes.
Um. How about this? Here's another telling stat. Denny Avdija, when the margin is between 6 and 10 points either way, Denny Avdija shoots 50% from the floor and 42% from three. I think he's the classic case of the man next to the man next to the man. Like if you have a quality scorer, and Denny Avdija is more of a tertiary scoring playmaker type guy, I think he thrives in those roles based on his shooting splits. If you ask him to be anything more than the man next to the man next to the man, then his numbers drop. But basically, what I'm getting at is Denny Avdija and high leverage situations, his shooting percentages are not impressive. For instance, in games where the margin of victory or the margin is 10 points or greater on either side, if it's a blowout, if they're getting blown out or if they're blowing somebody out, he shoots 56% from the floor and 36% from three. In close games, he shoots 47% from the floor and 36% from three. And in close games, he takes more 3-point attempts. In close games, he takes he took 122 3-pointers and made 44. In blowouts, he took 58 and made 21 of them. Is that something you think the Knicks saw? And
the Knicks could be looking at the numbers and thinking maybe with OG. Or if maybe OG makes it easier for him, or
if playing at the third wing between him and Josh Hart, take the load off him a little bit, let him be more of an efficient basketball player.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Hartenstein thing. The deep analytics suggests Hartenstein is a great player when he's not the man, when he's not the focal point.
Yeah, they may have done a deep dive and think there's something they can pull out of there.
Yeah. Is there anything else? I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. What's your thought?
Yeah, let me see their roster. Yeah, unless they're looking at like just my thing when they brought up Mitchell Robinson being involved, my first reaction is that means maybe there's another trade and they're just trying to balance out the other trade. So let me see. Yeah, Jordan Poole. Let me look at his contract. Yeah, I mean, they have plenty of picks. I mean, one thing they could be doing is trading some of their current picks for some future picks.
That's interesting.
Because they have way more picks than we do. Like, in the future.
But they can't really unlock their picks, though, because the Knicks have one of their protected picks.
Yeah, we have one of their protected picks. And then, but they have a lot of future picks. A lot of seconds.
Yeah.
Wow. In 2027, they have 5 second-round picks.
Yeah. Those kids are going to 9th grade right now.
Yeah. So, it could be a situation where they're trying to, kick some of those picks down the road.
Yeah. That would be a very Knicks thing to do. Kick the can down the road in their fifth off season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because because pretty much you need a star to build around. Kuzma's, he looks like he doesn't mind leaving, and then Poole, he didn't even have a. I know his shooting was bad, but even his points weren't that great. 17.4.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they need to establish a star. They need to, but at the same time, that number 2 pick, they're looking at Alex Sarr, they're looking at Ricochet, or none of those are like star players.
Yeah, they're not projected to be that.
Yeah.
But somebody said that about Nikola Jokic one time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the draft is going to depend on what organization drafts and their development posture.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think there's anybody at 2 that they want to bet on that hard. Where
The Knicks, right?
I don't think the Wizards, anybody, they would put their job on. Like as a GM, I don't think I would want my job to be on the line on that number 2 pick.
Okay.
So I mean, if they can get out of there and get a player, trade that for a player like who's ready.
How close are they? How close are the Wizards to competing?
Oh, they're way out of it. Way out of it. They don't even have the strong role players that you need, or they don't have anything.
Okay.
They don't have anything.
That's the reason why I don't want to call it clickbait, but that's why the Washington Wizards and New York Knicks communicating is puzzling to me. It's because Mitch to the Wizards returns what? And you and I talked about a number of scenarios of returns, and none of them make sense, at least for a playoff contending team.
Mm-hmm.
No,
directly. Maybe they're trying to make something else work, like trying to find a third team, or that's my thought. Trying to get a third team involved in something, or they have another trade that they're doing, and then they need to balance the roster out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a Clippers trade? Do they trade for Denny Avdija and something else and include it into a Paul George sign and trade scenario if OG Anunoby accepts his team option? I'm not for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for sure, man.
Yeah, I'm just missed on this whole Knicks approach. They left us in the dark this time.
So let me shift gears to the Mikal Bridges scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I have another monologue, so to speak, right before I ask the question. And for those that know it, for those that appreciate movies like Easy Rider or The Silence of the Lambs, you know why I want to do the monologue right quick. In a situation where bringing in another Nova boy, so to speak, right, for lack of a better term, bringing in another Nova boy at all costs, what does that do for a Knicks team that already has a borderline all-star in OG Anunoby at that position. Does that mean they're bringing in OG Anunoby insurance by bringing in the healthiest player in the NBA over the last 6 seasons? Or does it mean that the Knicks are going to go all in with a Nova culture type wave and paying 4 first-round picks is absolutely worth it and keeping Randall?
I don't see it. I know people keep bringing it up,
Right.
but I think any situation you bring in Bridges, he's a sixth man. Or if you put him as starting 2 guard, he's not going to pull the trigger like Dante.
No.
So the only way he starts is if he's starting 2.
The only
it
way
looks kind of wonky. I mean, the defense would be great, but
defensive. Not gonna lie to you, bro. If we had Mikal Bridges against Indiana, I think we still face Boston.
mm-hmm.
I think we face Boston. If we had a big athletic defending wing that can guard TJ McConnell and Tyrese Halliburton, I think we beat them. And this is health has nothing to do with it. I'm just talking about just the chess piece itself.
Yeah.
Right. If we had a defender on the floor when Brunson was off, because there were times you couldn't necessarily play Burks and Deuce together unless one of them was absolutely cooking. Right. When Burks was off and Deuce was off, you basically conceded that the other team was going to grow the lead. Right. Because Deuce was getting cooked defensively by TJ McConnell. And Burks is not a defender. So does he try on defense? Yes. Yeah. But when one of your best defenders is getting cooked by TJ. And this is no slight on Deuce. I'm not slamming Deuce because sometimes you're the bug and sometimes you're the windshield. Nobody wins all battles. Nobody wins all battles. So I think in that situation where you could have had Mikal Bridges in the mix, I think we probably beat Indiana. Do we still lose to Boston? If all those guys are still hurt, yes, we lose to Boston.
Yeah. You need the Nets to come off their price. Like the Nets see him as a borderline superstar.
I disagree with you, bro, on that. Let me just take a.
I mean, they're asking price.
No. I mean, no. Whatever it is, you could no. Listen, man. When I say I disagree with you, man, I'm not trying to impose my will on you. I'm saying I just view it differently, is what I'm saying. I feel like the emergence of Cam Thomas has them thinking that there is a world where Mikal Bridges and Cam Thomas can exist together. If Cam Johnson can stay healthy and they can add a point guard and some bench depth. But the thing is who can they go get? They're in a situation where they should be thinking, and this is me, a Knicks fan, talking about the Brooklyn Nets. In my opinion, they should be looking at bringing in a guy to play with Cam Thomas for the foreseeable future. And how you get there is by getting draft picks from other teams around the league, whether you draft players or use those said draft picks to trade for another guy that may be a better fit with Cam Thomas. Yeah. Because Cam Thomas is legit a bucket. For Knicks fans that remember the game, we played the Nets and we couldn't stop Cam Thomas. And we were double teaming him and had OG trying to guard him. That man is a scoring machine. Now, the knock on him is that he doesn't play defense. But let me stop everybody right there. Tell me where you heard this before. Man, he's an undersized guard, kind of thick, maybe not the most athletic, but he's a scoring machine. But his defense is kind of suspect. Tell me where you heard that before. That was for the chat, Fred, not for you.
Okay, I can think of a couple of people, but
You can think of a couple people, right?
yeah,
Like Cam Thomas is not a new entity, right? Slightly undersized guards that are kind of stocky for their height that can score whenever they want to and are suspect on defense. You could say Jalen Brunson,
yep, Eric Gordon.
Eric Gordon. Yep, yep. The list goes on and on. So that's not something that is new to the NBA, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean the Nets. Up until the end of the season, they were talking, "Oh no, we want to add someone to Mikal Bridges," but then they did let out that they may want to change strategies. So you
that was
know,
before they hired a coach.
yeah. So
That was the front office speaking about asset management. That wasn't about that. That wasn't Jordy Fernandez talking about what system he's going to implement. Oh,
yeah,
not Jordy Fernandez. Jordy Fernandez is in Toronto, right? Who's the new Brooklyn coach, the pick and roll maestro coach? I can look it up. Oh, it is Jordy Fernandez.
yeah,
Yeah, it is Jordy Fernandez. Okay. Yeah, so it is Jordy Fernandez. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, if they're four firsts is a lot. If the 24th and the 25th pick are part of those four, I'd be willing. If the other two are, you know, if they can see those as two of the four. But they've turned down four draft picks before,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And Toronto turned down 3 first round picks before for OG Anunoby.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Houston, Houston, Houston really wanted him last year too. So yeah, it's up to the Nets. Like the
Yeah.
Nets, I mean,
Yeah.
that's good value for.
And maybe what Houston was offering at the time through the media was not maybe what they were looking for.
Mhm.
And and it's time like I compare it to going to the mall. You know how somebody asks you, "Hey man, you want to go to the mall?" And you're like, "Nah, man, I'm on the sticks. I'm playing the game right now, man. I don't feel like going." But then they ask you to go, and then you get to the mall, and then you wind up shopping. You wind up spending 2 hours at the mall. I think
Mhm.
that's what it's going to be like with Brooklyn, right? Like I think their stance is one thing based on that one thing, but I think once the draft gets here and the player addition stuff starts, your juices starts to flow. I think they'll probably back off that from Mikal Bridges,
Yeah,
and maybe that pick that you're talking about getting from Washington is the one that goes to Brooklyn for Mikal Bridges. You think so? No?
it could be. I mean, yeah, if they gave him a high pick like that, they can build around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, you got anything any Knicks related news that you want to share with everybody? I don't have anything, bro.
Um. Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
I hadn't heard anything, bro. It's
They
it's
they are
quiet.
really quiet. It is really quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
The
I'm kind of surprised, like around the league, how quiet it is. There has been some leaking, but you don't hear anything about the Suns, and
right.
that's one team that needs to be scouring the earth.
The
Um,
Bulls, another team that needs to be
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Bulls need to, and people been done told them that they need to come off those players.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the Bulls probably have taken a more staunch stance than Brooklyn. But I think you'll see movement on Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Vucevic, and Patrick Williams.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
Patrick
don't.
Williams, I'm not sure. He's not a max player. He's not. I don't even know where to put his. Like, if they gave him a contract, what?
You don't know
he
what his
be worth?
NBA value is?
No.
Me either. I don't.
He's
I don't.
an odd NBA player. Like, he's not. He's just. It's hard to place his talent.
I'll say this. The Chicago Bulls don't develop talent. I've been watching the Chicago Bulls for about 50 years, bro. Right? And in 50 years, I think I saw them maybe develop 5 NBA players in 50 years. And I'm including Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen in that. Right? But you don't remember names like Quinnett or the UConn guy or
Oh yeah, I do.
BJ
But,
Armstrong.
yeah,
And you know what I mean? Like BJ Armstrong, those you won't count those guys. So when it comes, so I said all of that not to throw shade at Chicago, because when they hit, they really hit, right?
Mhm.
But I said that to say this. I think Patrick Williams can be rehabbed in another place. Like if they don't match somebody's offer, or if they just rescind everything and just let him walk for nothing, I think he could go to a place like Boston and develop into a very valuable piece off the bench for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go to a place like Indiana. Go to a place like Indiana and develop into a really good piece for them at the 3, not the 4. Right. All right. Hey, boss, that's all I got, man. I appreciate you coming through and hanging out.
Sure, no problem. No problem.
Hey,
It's gonna be a busy week.
When are you going live again? Or when are you gonna do another video?
Probably this week.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna do probably a little bit this week. If there are any rumors, I still think the LA thing is kind of interesting.
What I think if we don't hear anything by Tuesday, I don't think there's anything that's going to be done.
Yeah, it's just what is it? 23rd, 24. I think is today the day that everybody has to either opt in or sure.
Oh no, that's the day after the draft. You're talking about the player option stuff?
Yeah, player options.
Yeah, I think they have to. I think they have to declare like after the draft and before free agency starts.
Yeah,
in that window. And so I think you'll hear something from the Knicks about Bogey sometime this week.
Yeah. It's interesting that the Knicks are keeping it tight. They're not writing any information out.
Yeah,
because even the information of if he's gonna opt in or opt out is pretty big news. Like,
yeah,
I don't think they're letting anybody know anything.
Yeah. Well, what's your thoughts on Bogey?
That he'll probably be traded, but I would love to have him back. He's like a player I'd love to have back if they
At 19 mil?
Even at 19 mil, yeah.
35 years old?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it either.
For 1 year?
For 1 year, yeah, I don't have a problem with it either.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with them even going and then maybe trade them at the deadline. I don't have a problem with them, and this is going to sound crazy. I don't have a problem with them bringing them back next year. For a reasonable amount of money now. I mean, let's not, we're not going to pay a 36-year-old wing player some crazy money, right? But I'm not opposed to Bogey being a Knick for a little while. I'll tell you who I wouldn't mind the Knicks getting. Nicholas Batum. Bringing him back for whatever value salary we can get him at to go with OG Anunoby and the wing players. But anyway, thank you, man, for coming through. I appreciate it, man.
No problem at all.
Yeah, man. I hate to ruin your night, your weekend with Knicks talk, man, but I'm a Knicks junkie, bro. I can't help myself.
Nah, I ain't much to do.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Thank y'all for coming through, rocking with us, y'all. Peace, everybody.